Hello, everybody. Welcome to Most Wanted Topics. I'm your host, Kevin Dennison. Along with me, per usual, is Atomic Tommy. How you doing, Atomic Tommy?
Per the usual, I'm here.
Yeah. Hey, did you have a good Memorial Day weekend?
You know, it was great. It was relaxing. Did some grilling, burgers, hot dogs, the deal.
We took time to remember those who passed away, not only in our families, but to all the armed forces that serve. We thank you for the ones that are alive, and we remember those that fell, giving their life the ultimate sacrifice so that we can enjoy the freedoms that we have, like to do this podcast. So that Memorial Day is behind us. We celebrated well. It's kickoff to summer. We are open today. Man, we had a good day. We aren't usually open on Tuesdays, but now through the summer we're open Tuesday through Sunday. So today was our first day of summer being open on Tuesdays. So it went pretty well for being open for a Tuesday. And we know we come out Monday nights, but because of Memorial Day, obviously we didn't do the show Monday night. So we're here Tuesday night for you, but we'll be back to normal Monday night shows next week. But yeah, so we had a good vacation. Let's kind of circle back here because a while back we were doing our usual talk of what happened last week was coming out this week. We'll change the format a little bit. We're going to do the Williamson Report.
We're about to talk about something that I actually do really like, man. Action Comics is good right now. Superman is good right now. Well, Superman has always been good. Joshua Williamson has been writing Superman for a while. I think, it just, they just had their 13th issue, but that whole run, I think, has been pretty good. And now this ties in with the whole House of Brainiac thing, which, man, Lobo's back. How about that? I mean, that in itself, I think,
big character.
Is a W. That in itself, I think, look, if you guys aren't checking out Action Comics or Superman, you guys really need to be. I mean, it's bringing back, sort of tying in an old piece of DC, Lobo species, the Cesarnians, man. What happened to them? Lobo is, Lobo's whole thing, he's sort of the last of his kind, a bounty hunter, right? Bringing back his species. What happened? Brainiac's back. Man, this is just really fun. It's really cool. Usually, again, with stuff like this, I don't like to dive too deep into the story because I don't want to spoil anything for those who are trying to read it. But just know that it's really good. And if you're not reading it, you need to be.
We do have some back issues left.
We do. We have Superman 13. We have some of the tie-ins, like the Green Lantern tie-in. Obviously, we have Action Comics. So if you're looking for a place to start, come on in. We'll point you in the right direction.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with Williamson's work, he's been around for a while, but I tell you, Williamson has just really stepped up his game.
Yeah.
His writing's pretty good right now, so if you haven't read Action Comics, pick that up. Has he got anything new coming out besides that, or is he just...
Well, he's always doing stuff. He actually just finished, I think 2 weeks ago now, a pretty popular independent title. I think I mentioned it a couple episodes ago, Dark Ride. That's a pretty popular, really good independent, that he just finished. Obviously, he just finished Duke and Cobra Commander, which were huge hits.
Those were big. Those were good.
And those were really good. Obviously, he's always doing stuff for DC. You can always catch him on some of the remaining issues of Green Arrow coming up. You can always catch him on Batman and Robin, right? Obviously, the Superman stuff. So, he's always got stuff coming out. He's always a fun writer to follow. And I would, definitely check out all his work.
We got to get him to Minnesota.
We do. He's got to come here to the store, sign some autographs. He's got to sign my Flash #1. His run on the Flash was insane.
You got an open invitation here, buddy. We're happy to host you anytime you want to come out here, and we'll take good care of you, and you'll have a lot of fun. You have a lot of fans here in Minnesota. We'd love to have you at the shop, Most Wanted Comics. Let's look for what's coming out tomorrow here. What do we have to look forward to for Wednesday?
Well, keeping to the theme of independence, Once Upon a Time at the End of the World #15. A really fun independent title written by the one and only Jason Aaron. Incredible stuff. Number 15 is the final issue, right? And, the ending is the perfect beginning. So come on in, grab it, check it out, and pick up the back issues, pick up the trades, check it out. Also, Helverine #1.
Helverine.
A big character introduced, a while ago now. It doesn't feel like that long ago, but it was like Wolverine 37 or something.
Everything runs together.
Helverine getting his own #1. Which I think will be really cool. So that's this week.
Cool. Well, all right. Well, yeah, that was it. We're off of vacation now. We're back to normal schedule. So next time you'll see us, we'll be on Monday night. You can check us out. We have to tease this.
Yeah.
So you have to mark your calendars, people, for a major appearance July 27th. Mark your calendars. We're going to have an announcement on Facebook here coming up as soon as the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. But the verbal has been made. The verbal commitment has been made. We've discussed dates, and July 27th is what we settled on. So stay tuned to see who this appearance is going to be. But let me just tell you, if you're into wrestling, you're going to love it.
Yeah, if you like the Jimmy Hart signing, I think you're gonna like this one just as much. We're all really excited.
If you like Jimmy Hart, you're gonna love this one. So stay tuned, everybody, for that. The date has been set, July 27th, when it's official, and we have all the deets. We're gonna release that.
Yep. Stay tuned for that. But I do think there's one more thing we can talk about. Our good buddy Jimmy the Seucer.
Oh, Jimmy the Seucer
brought this up when we were talking just the other day. And he said, one of the things I think you guys should talk about is whether you should or should not buy a graded copy of a book, right? What would be better to talk about? And
that's a great question.
That is a great question. And I always like to talk about, the industry and sort of my takes on it, given that I, avidly work in it. I like to sort of talk about it with other people. And I think that this is a great question and a great discussion to have.
Okay, let's do it.
Here's the thing about buying graded, though, right? I mean, if you're somebody, personally, I don't really buy graded comics. I'm a raw collector. I buy my books raw. I don't usually grade them unless it's something that I personally want graded or I know will get a high grade. But again, that's never guaranteed. So Correct. That's just, if I want a graded comic, I'm going to buy the book graded instead of buying it raw. Now, for people who do buy it graded, again, it would just make sense. I think one of the misconceptions and one of the things that I see a lot is people buying the books raw, at a cheaper price because raw is not as expensive as graded, despite what some of the dealers out there will try and tell you by, marking a raw book. We've seen it go around the internet quite a bit lately. It's the dealers who will take a comic, price it at what they believe the CGC fair market value price point to be as a raw book. So, and that's dumb. I don't agree with that.
You can't do that because you're not guaranteed that grade.
Right, you can't guarantee the grade. You can't price it that way. There are people who do. But that's obviously not the conversation we're having. I just thought I'd bring it up. But I just think, I see it all the time. I see people try and buy these books for cheaper prices saying, I'm going to get this one. I really want this in a 9.8. So they'll buy a nice looking copy. They'll send it in. And they won't, they'll get it back as a 9.6, and then they'll have to start the process over again because they don't want to pay the 9.8 CGC price points, which I understand. If you don't, they are more expensive. Sometimes harder to find depending on where you are.
And it is a gamble.
Gamble.
Yeah,
I mean, again, you've heard it from everybody, but grading with CGC really is a lot like playing, roulette. You don't know who you're gonna get. You don't know what they're gonna count and not count as a mark. Or a tick, like there are just different things you can't account for.
Yeah, you don't know if the guy's having a bad day, so everything's going to be a 9.6
so
that day.
I guess if you're wondering, should I buy a book raw or graded, I think it really depends on what you want out of the book you're buying, right? If you want it graded, just buy the book graded. Save up, don't mess around with trying to submit a raw copy. Just buy the book at the grade you want.
Yeah, and save yourself the headache of paying the fee and then waiting 4 or 5 months.
Because I think what people also forget is that, it is, for a mono book at least, it's like $30 to grade a raw book.
Yeah.
Plus shipping. So on top of paying for the book, you're also paying for the grading fee. Which for some people doesn't matter. But again, if you're looking for a book in a 9.8, just buy the book in a 9.8.
Well, plus, if you're doing a Silver Age, too, got to remember, too, is they sell your credit card. If you get a better grade even than you think it is, they're going to knock up even more of a payment.
Right.
They're going to let you know that you owe another so much percentage of the book.
That's right. They ask you to input what you believe the book is worth, what its FMV is. But if they believe it's more than that, you will get charged more.
Yeah.
Which is something that, again, not everybody knows, but it's what happens. So I think, to wrap up that question on, should I buy the book raw or graded, I think, it just all comes down to what you want.
Yeah, it is a lot of preference. If you're never going to open it, you just want a nice piece for the wall, a high-grade book that You don't have to gamble on it. It's already locked in. The benefit of buying a CGC book is, hey, it's authenticated. It's the grade it is. Even if you agree with it or not, it doesn't matter. The CGC word is all that matters at that point.
Right.
If it says 9.8, whether you believe it's a 9.8 or not, it doesn't matter. It's a 9.8. You can value it as a 9.8 because it is certified CGC 9.8.
Yeah.
The problem is you can never read it. Can't do anything with it.
And I think it's an interesting thing to circle back to. It's from a retail perspective, right? You believe the book is a 9.8. So how are you going to price it? Well, again, there are dealers out there, and you'll see them at shows who will say, wow, this book, raw, I really think this is a 9.8. They're going to look up what a 9.8 graded sells for, and they're going to market at that. Again, I don't agree with that. I think that's wrong. You can't do that. But plenty of people do, which is why it's also important when you're at conventions shopping books to really make sure you look at all the copies out there on the floor. If you're really looking for a Swamp Thing 37, First John Constantine, there's gonna be a million. You don't just buy the first one you see. There's gonna be
don't do that.
8 or 10 or more out there to look at, and they're all gonna be different prices. So you really have to look at
shop around a little.
Shop around, because there are people who will try and take advantage of the graded, idea. Right, the people who are like, man, I really want to buy this book and get it graded and have it be really nice.
And there's nothing wrong with that,
right?
But you better be sure you're grade.
Yeah, and that's why you just don't do that, because you, as the seller, can never guarantee a grade.
Yeah.
We're not. Most of us aren't professionals, and most of us don't work for CGC, so we can't guarantee what CGC will give that book.
Yeah, we get asked all the time. You think this will pull a 9.8, 9.6? Luckily, we have a person in the store. I tell you what, he can do grading. He spots it pretty well, but it doesn't mean he's right all the time.
Yeah.
So the gamble with the book is he may think it pulls something, and he may say this is an 8.5 or a 9.0, and you're cool with that, and it pulls an 8.0 or a 7.5. Well, it's pretty damn close.
Yeah.
But you never know.
And that's the thing, too. It's that situation where it's like, if you're looking to get the book graded, or you want a graded copy, just buy a graded copy, or if you just want to own the book.
The hype,
Yeah, save yourself the hype. If you just want to own the book, just buy a copy, Obviously, I do have, circling back to my own collection, I do have standards and condition, right? I don't buy graded. I don't really care, if it's a 9.6 or a 9.8 or anything, but I do have condition standards, so there is that. But, I think it was a really interesting question that the Souser brought up. And I think it's an interesting thing to really talk about. And again, we can go on with this for a long time because there's a lot to the graded market, and there's a lot to how people will price raw books, based on the grade.
Yeah, and go ahead and just send us your feedback. If you're liking this stuff, smash the like button, subscribe to this channel, and also let us know what you think. Do you like to buy raw versus graded, or what your take is in buying raw books, obviously, and maybe get them graded later. Let us know your thoughts. But yeah, I'm with you. I'd rather, if I'm going to buy the grade, I'm going to buy the graded. I'm not going to mess around, hope that I get one and be disappointed.
Right.
I'd rather save up and get what I want at that point.
Absolutely.
But raw is so good because you can always use that as a stepping stone, and you can always trade it in too and upgrade later. So I don't know. It's really preference of the buyer, but it is a great discussion to have. Also, there was a thing we just got done doing a show a couple of weeks ago. There was a discussion on Facebook about should we spend time alphabetizing dollar bins?
Oh yeah, we should bring that up too.
We're not going to call out any single names.
Yeah, we're not gonna bring anything up. We're not gonna call anybody out. But there was a discussion post, emphasizing a person's viewpoint that they believe vendors and dealers and shop owners and everybody should spend time alphabetizing dollar books and organizing them. Bulk. And I think now I'm just going to say it. That's just not going to happen. All right. That's not how it works. That's not going to happen. And if that person wants to spend an afternoon and come on in and do that for us, they are more than welcome to. But I mean, if you could see our studio right now, you would understand why we don't do that. We have boxes of inventory
Boxes and boxes.
to process and sort through that are worth more than $1. And at this point in the market, dollar books are great, but there's money to be made with other stuff.
Yep.
And there's books that are worth putting the effort into. And sometimes the dollar books just aren't. That's just not what the dollar books are. Now, there's no shade on the dollar bin divers.
Nope.
I love dollar bin digging.
The hunt is what makes it
the
fun.
hunt is fun. And a lot of my friends love dollar bin diving, and I have no problem with that. There's no shame in that. There's nothing wrong with it.
At our store, we welcome it. We have dollar bin drawers
every day, plus stools, right? We make it.
We give stools to sit on, so you can do it. But the labor itself and the time it takes for dollar bin, it doesn't make sense unless you really have no life and can be here 24 hours a day.
I think it's important to remember that it, sorting just, if you take, we have how many? We say like 15 or so dollar boxes, right?
Right, in our we have $100 boxes, but we have in our store we bring in
our store currently.
Yeah.
To set them all out and alphabetize would be 24 plus hours of time. Probably way more than that, but a minimum 24 hours. That's 24 hours of time that we can spend processing inventory, cleaning up the store, refreshing inventory, making it look nicer, just making the store better.
Well, spending time on the inventory that makes the store money.
Right, and spending time, that's right. That's a better way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, we alphabetize and number order all our not our dollar bin, all our bins that are $3, okay? We have our $3 bins on the tables. They're $3 a mark price, and everything is by title in alphabetical order by number.
Yep.
Because that's worth the store can make money on those. And then we have the dollar bin stuff, the bulk stuff. And there's good stuff in there, don't get me wrong. There's stuff that's worth more than $1, believe me.
Right.
People have pulled $20, $50 books out of our dollar bins. But it's stuff that we just can't get to, and it's not worth our labor cost or time to do that with dollar books. So, but that's, some people believe in it, and that is great. It is, again, preference. It was a thing that was brought up that deserved a discussion.
And the other thing is, you can't please everyone, right?
No.
You can't, obviously some people prefer everything to be organized and set there for them. And I'm partially that way too. But that's why we take the $3 stuff, even the $2 stuff, and we alphabetize it and we organize it, okay? Our $2 collection that we brought to SpringCon was all alphabetized, okay? It was all organized. The dollar stuff, the stuff that is bulk, that is really just, for the most part, not worth our time.
Well, it's funny, too. Go ahead. Finish.
Just, again, the amount of time it would take to sort that alone just isn't worth it, because they're $1. They're dollar comics.
Well, think about this too, because the true stacker doesn't care. He or she will hunt and stack, and it doesn't matter. They'll spend it. The guy that's doing the complaint here is the guy that's going to buy 2 books.
Right. I think the problem is that this individual is really looking at the dollar bin the wrong way. I mean, if you're going to a dollar bin
to fill a list,
to fill a run, or to complete something, or to look for that one issue you're missing, or to look for, I want, and there are some cases where it's warranted, right? Like if you're looking for an offbeat title that no one really, is,
if you want
not
a Valiant
much
title.
Wanted, right? If you want a Valiant title, or you want, the 80s Captain Atom from DC, go to the dollar bin, you can probably find a bunch of it in there. But if you're there looking for, I want some $1 Daredevils, or I want some $1 Spideys,
and I got to get this to complete the run.
And then you're going to sit there and say, I really wish it was alphabetized so I could go find those Spideys right away.
Yeah, good luck.
That's not the point of the dollar bin. It's not the reason it's there. That's why the $3 alphabetized stuff is there, so you can go to the Spideys and you can find those issues that you need. But again, that stuff is not for the dollar bin.
That's right.
And that's not what the dollar bin is for.
Nope.
So, I'm not, obviously everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but we had to bring that up.
Yeah, again, another great discussion topic. Yeah. That's great to have. Hey, shout out to Matt and JD. Of course, shout out to Suzer. Shout out to the Gossovich family. Shout out to Sonia, shout out to Tanya, shout out to Mark. Had to get that one in there this time, and Scott and Joe and the fellas. So, also wanted to send a shout out to the Arkansas contingent and the Duluth and Iron Range contingent that follow us. So thank you very much for that. And we're excited. Remember to mark your calendars. We're going to have more on the update on the event coming up at Most. And we're going to have more than that, too. Just keep staying tuned. We have a lot coming up. It's going to be a really fun summer at Most Wanted Comics. So we'll see you guys on Monday, everybody.